Happy to do a quick sound check. There it is. Everybody looked up. That means it works. Before you start, Pat Solomon is feeling dizzy and needs her husband to come home and take her to the emergency room. We didn't want to wait for that announcement. Okay, we'll keep an eye out for Glenn. Sorry to interrupt.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Watkins. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a worship associate of this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. We acknowledge that we are gathering on the original lands of the Erie and of the Anishinaabe and Anishinaabe peoples, also known as the Three Fire Council. We recognize the need to learn more about these complex and sometimes painful histories, to care for the land we inhabit, and to show respect for the diverse peoples and cultures who preceded us, as well as those who gather here now. It's good to be with you this morning. Welcome. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different ages, and different backgrounds. Welcome. We come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek spiritual truth, to question, to nurture our heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find answers to some of the bigger questions that we have. We hope that you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. Whatever your age, young, old, or somewhere between, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, know that you are welcome here. We especially welcome any guests who are worshiping with us for the first time today, either here with us physically or joining us in the cyber world. If you're interested in more information about who we are, we invite you to fill out one of the guest cards in the pew rack in front of you. You can place that card in the offering plate as it comes around later in the service, and we'll be able to reach out to you with more information. If you're watching from an internet platform, you can go to the website uucleveland.org or send us an email. So we are about to enter into sacred space. Please take a moment to silence your phones or any other electronics that beep. Our chalice lighter today is Linda Coulter. If you will find the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you and join along with me as we read our covenant. We cultivate trust with one another by celebrating differences, honoring boundaries, and offering compassion and care. We listen to each other deeply with curiosity and wonder. We speak for ourselves without need to defend ourselves or persuade each other. We create safe and brave space for healthy conflict, creativity, and fun. We reconcile through forgiving and making amends when we hurt one another.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Randy Partain. My pronouns are they, them, and I am delighted to be with you in worship today, whether you're here in person or joining us online. I invite you to hear these words from Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Welcome to this place where certainty transforms to questions. This place that takes what is and imagines what can be. Welcome to this space where what was static begins to shift, where rigidity embraces unfolding as we join in the dance of transformation. Welcome to this moment of change where together we transfigure and transcend. In that spirit, may we join in worship today. We are going to sing together hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, but before we do that, I invite you to take a moment and greet those around you. If you see a face you don't recognize, please make a special effort to let that person feel welcomed today.
So I didn't watch. Which one did you choose?
So I chose the
cattle prod?
cattle prod, but the error was that I had tried both types and I had made the width too short. So I had to then pick it up a little to make it work.
Never step in the same river twice.
Just play the gig, man. Get involved in politics.
I'm sorry?
Each Sunday, we take time in our service to acknowledge the joys and concerns that we bring with us into this space. If you are joining us online, I invite you to put any joys or concerns you want the congregation to know about in the comments below. And of course, we will lead off today with a stone of care for Pat Solomon in hopes that she will get the care that she needs. We have a stone of solidarity for the employees of Holden Forests and Gardens whose vote to unionize failed on February 28th. So a vote of solidarity for those workers. A note here, now 30,000 dead in Gaza, our thoughts are with them. And of course, we have many in our community in the Jewish faith who are continuing to suffer intense grief at the continued violence. Our thoughts are with them as well. And a stone of care for the many transgender and gender non-binary young people who continue to face persecution in the places where they should be safest. Our care and concern for them. Sometimes we also have joys in the book. This is not one of those Sundays where we have joys written down. But maybe you are bringing some joy with you that you would like to acknowledge today that is just as valid as the concerns that we bring. And so I invite you forward if you want to acknowledge any joys or concerns you carry with you today to put a stone in the water. And if you're not coming forward, then I invite you to hold those who are in care and love. place a stone for those joys and concerns shared online today. And acknowledge that our community welcomes all of these joys and concerns into this space. We bring all of who we are into our relationships with one another. And by sharing our joys, we hope that they are magnified. And by sharing our burdens, we hope that they are lessened. May it be so.
Good morning. I'm Linda Coulter. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the chair of this year's Stewardship Committee, and I'm here with a special announcement. Our 2024-2025 Stewardship Campaign, Nourishing Our Spiritual Home, officially begins today. There are many ways that each of us nourishes the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Cleveland, supporting our mission: community within and without, spirituality, seeking and growing, justice in action. While reading our mission, I considered the membership class I attended in the fall of 2021 and how my fellow attendees have contributed their gifts to the UUCC. Maggie Nash and Susan Harlow, who have fostered a community within the congregation by starting the Pride for All Ages group. Barbara Newby, who has served to protect our members as part of the safety team, notably while the Pride for All Ages led service on Coming Out Day last October. Suzanne Zilber, whose palpable passion for justice serves on our racial justice leadership team. Bill Newby, whose poetry teases our mind and reaches our hearts. And Dana Bjorkland, the music of her French horn often fills the sanctuary after services, its spiritual beauty causing us to pause. They are not alone. The passionate gifts that each of you bring to this congregation nourishes and sustains us as we work to achieve our congregation's mission. Thank you. Now, during the stewardship campaign, is the time we call for another gift to nourish our spiritual home: your financial gifts. Without the financial generosity of our congregants, it would be difficult, dare I say impossible, to fulfill our mission. This is why we have a stewardship campaign and why we now ask you to make your financial commitment for the 2024-2025 congregation fiscal year. We ask you to give generously so UUCC can strengthen our connections to one another, extend our reach beyond our walls, and advance the important work of our congregation. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
Well, good morning. So the news is out, came out last week, but what I've learned is that despite having always been told that we live in the information age, information does not travel the same way to everybody, and so not everyone gets all the news at the same time. But at the end of our last service, it was announced that in July I'll be leaving my role in the congregation. So that is the news. It is news for me that is sad because I'm fearful and afraid of all the changes that are coming. I am happy because I'm pursuing work that you all called me into, because I did not arrive in Cleveland planning to do UUDRE work, but I ended up doing that work. And to be clear, you could have made it so miserable that I was like, no, never again. But instead, I got called further and further into this work, and so here I am trying to find more ways to do it more intentionally. I'm sorry I was not here last week for the announcement, and there's lots to think about. Very appropriate, actually, in this stewardship season to think about the future and what possibilities and what new growth happens, because one of my favorite readings from our gray hymnal, the only constant in life is change. So having said that, of course, I'm also, you're still stuck with me for a little while. I will be here through June, and thinking about these new opportunities and thinking about stewardship and thinking about a chance to reflect on all the things that I've been around UUCC to do, I have been thinking about being happy and sad, being optimistic and anxious, and that weirdly made me think of potlucks, because I'm a food-centric person, and food makes me happy and sad and anxious and fearful sometimes. Potlucks, that's why I brought our pot. Now that I've been doing our Wednesday evening meals, I've gotten to know our kitchen appliances very well. This is one of our smallest ones, if you can imagine, down in the kitchen. I really like potlucks, though, because they're a great practice of universal acceptance and sharing that also affirms our individual and authentic selves. Because you might show up and be like, oh, I love green bean casserole, but I hate yams. Someone else loves yams, but they hate macaroni salad. But it's a potluck. So we all get a little potlucky. Somebody brings something that we like. At first, thinking about potlucks, that's the thing. It's like a game of chance. You don't really know what's going to be there when you show up. You don't actually know what's on the menu. And maybe it's possible, in a rare one version of the universe, you go to a potluck and you hate everything. It's possible. But the magic of a religious community, a spiritual community, is that we do get to be potlucky. We all get to bring our own thing, so that for most times, for most people, there ends up being something for everyone. Because we get to invite people to bring their whole and authentic selves and to share them with one another. That's what potlucks allow us to do. More than 6 years ago now, I was very potlucky and was invited to share myself here at UUCC. And I still get to share that self with you for the next few months. But I hope that you are all feeling just as potlucky yourselves. That you get to show up with your own dish, the dish that you serve up, the you that you bring, and that you get to share that with this whole extended family of people who have agreed to gather together and to make this feast, which all of us contribute to. It might be the case that no one will eat absolutely everything, but the feast is shared by everyone. So, the most important thing I want you to remember today is, actually next week, after service, we have a potluck, so don't forget to bring something so we can all be potlucky together.
So our offering partner today is Project Impact, and I'm happy to welcome some folks up to talk a little bit about their experience with this. So we have Brianna and Sandy, Cameron, Kennedy, and London. If you'd like to talk a little bit about Project Impact and its role in your lives, we'd love for you to come up.
Good morning. I'm Sandy Troop. I'm the Director of Impact. Ms. Brianna is the Program Coordinator. I just want to thank some people really, really quick. Reverend Randy, thank you for everything you do for us. We really appreciate you. Rita is awesome. Michael takes care of us every week, so we really appreciate him. To our volunteers, thank you so much for coming out. To the board, Nancy, Alan, Kim, Shane, and other people, we truly appreciate your support. I just wanted the students to say a quick thing.
Good morning. My name is Kennedy Parker, and I'm in the 7th grade. Impact has brought me many life lessons, especially with the people both Ms. Troop and Ms. B brings around me and the moral of the games that she teaches us as a group. I'm glad to say that she offers us real working jobs in the future as well. This being said, I think your child should join Impact.
Good morning. My name is Cameron Williams. I am a part of the Impact program here. I have been a part of the Impact program since the beginning of the year when it first started. I feel that Impact is important to me because it helped me with sportsmanship, my leadership skills, and my communication skills. I am proud to be a part of Impact because of what it represents. It teaches me life lessons that I can carry on with me. It also helps me prepare for 8th grade next year. One of my favorite things so far in the program is our Black History project that we are doing at the moment. Impact has made a huge impact on me and my peers, and I look forward to continue and learn from this program.
Good morning. I'm London. The reason why I feel impact is important to me is because building new friendships and getting to know new people. I've actually been here for 4 years now, so I've been here a long time and I know a lot about it. It's a really good experience for me because I get to experience new things and find new people and create new bonds, and also, I don't know, just build new friendships and just have fun.
Thank you so much for your support. I didn't see Dash, sorry.
Hello, my name is Dash, and I've only been to Impact for a little bit because I've been invited by one of my friends. But throughout my living in Impact, it's been great. I got over all my anxiety throughout school, and I feel like it will help me move on to 9th grade and go to high school. I love all my friends I made an Impact. It's just been such a great experience here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing that. As the offering plate comes around, please give generously as you can to help continue to support this program. If you want to use the Cash App, our Cash App handle is $UUCC 44122. Please put in the memo line that it's for Impact, and that will make sure to get the monies to the right place.
Seeds grow to plants if you add a little water.
Truth of Sufficiency by Lynn Twist. We each have the choice in any setting to step back and let go of the mindset of scarcity. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. And by sufficiency, I don't mean a quantity of anything. Sufficiency isn't 2 steps up from poverty or 1 step short of abundance. It isn't a measure of barely enough or more than enough. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all. It is an experience, a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and that we are enough. In our relationship with money, it is using money in a way that expresses our integrity, using it in a way that expresses value rather than determines value. Sufficiency is not a message about simplicity or about cutting back or lowering expectations. Sufficiency doesn't mean we shouldn't strive or aspire. Sufficiency is an act of generating, distinguishing, making known to ourselves the power and presence of our existing resources and our inner resources. Sufficiency is a context we bring forth from within that reminds us that if we look around us and within ourselves, we will find what we need.
Mark Weber, do you want to come up and say a word or two?
Well, knowing me, it'll be more than just a word or two. It's an honor for me to open for Reverend Randy's sermon today with a little reflection on stewardship. So Felisa and I joined the congregation in 2003, so we've been a member here for 20 years. More than some, but a lot less than many others here. I guess there are 3 things that I think are really important about this congregation. The first would be its durability. It has survived many upheavals. I have been on the board twice, and the congregation has survived that. So obviously, the congregation offers all of us a long-term warranty. The second, more seriously, I think the second thing that I think about in our congregation is that it's a spiritual safe place. You don't have to have or see the same path forward on your spiritual journey, but we learn from each other, even though we have different paths and we travel at different speeds. And I think the most important part for Felisa and me of our congregation is that we practice tikkun olam, repairing the world, trying to live our values by serving the needs in the community, most often of those who have no voice themselves, those who have been marginalized. And I see in the congregation a number of people who have been involved in that kind of justice work. So as I look back on my being a part of this, being a part of this congregation for 20 years, I'm proud that we've been here, but always a little puzzled about why you would have let me in the first place. Thank you.
This is our Stewardship Kickoff Sunday. We are not talking about stewardship every Sunday this month. We're talking about transformation through the month of March. But one of the things that the revision of our value statement that we're considering says about transformation is that we adapt to the changing world. That's our definition of transformation. We adapt to the changing world. And sometimes that means that our spiritual home adapts and our spiritual home evolves and becomes something new. Sometimes it means that what we need as nourishment from a spiritual home changes and evolves. We may not always need the same things when we come into a place where we have a spiritual family with one another. Can I move this mic? Is it okay if I move this out of the way? Okay. I mean, it's not in the way. Yeah, I'm perceiving it as being in my way. So I'm wondering what nourishes you. I know that we get nourishment from a lot of things, but we may not know that there's quite a diversity of things in this room that nourishes us. When you think about a spiritual home, how are you nourished in a spiritual home? I'm not going to grab a microphone and pass. I'll just repeat what you say so that the live stream folks will hear it. What nourishes you in a spiritual home? The people and the friendships. Well, Kathleen got the right answer, so everybody else can relax. No, yeah, the people and the friendships that we build here are important. I'll say more about those relationships. What else nourishes you in a spiritual home? Even if this isn't your spiritual home, if there's something that nourishes you in a spiritual home, let me know. A sense of community, even though your beliefs may differ from the people around you. Yeah, we have something deeper that binds us together, that connects us. Chrissy? Seeing your inner values reflected in the physical space. Yeah, there's an integrity to that. Shared laughter. That's a good thing that unites us. What else nourishes us in a spiritual home? Yeah.
Searching for meaning in diversity.
Searching for meaning in diversity. Yeah. Yes. Music. I was waiting for somebody to say the music nourishes us in a spiritual home. Every spiritual home that I've ever been in, the music has been a significant piece of that. Yeah. Food nourishes us. It's not just the food, is it? It's the that shared meal together. There is something about sharing a meal with one another that nourishes us in a way that goes so much deeper than just the food. Yeah. The messages and the calls to stretch ourselves nourishes us. I'll pay you later. Strength in numbers when there are things we want to see happen. Yeah, we have some solidarity, yeah. Being inspired by people who live their values. It's not always easy. And when we see it around us, then it nourishes us and encourages us to do the same. Yeah. Fellowship and understanding nourishes us. Absolutely. Yeah. Just the presence. Just being present with other people. I was on a Zoom call recently, and I thought this conversation would be so much better if we were all in the same room and if we were just present in the same room. I know it feels dangerous to breathe the same air, but there's something about that presence of other human beings that nourishes us. Yeah, Sandy? being loved and accepted nourishes us. There is so much in this place that nourishes us. So why do we need to talk about money? We are already doing so many things that nourish us spiritually. And yet our stewardship campaign focuses on the financial pledges that our members make. And let me just be really clear about what a member is. A member here is somebody who has gone through the Considering Membership class, understands what it means to be committed to a community, has made a pledge of some kind, even if that pledge is less than what they're comfortable with. Sometimes people say, I can only give X amount, and that's fine. If that's where you are, that's where you are. But some kind of financial commitment, and a commitment to be present and to be engaged in our community. So a member is somebody who has literally signed the membership book. Some people here have been engaged in this community for a long time. Some of you, it's your first Sunday here, and you're thinking, I don't know if this is the place for us or not. You're trying to figure out if it's a good fit. The stewardship campaign is really about inviting our members to follow through on their commitment. So some of you can sit back and just be observers because you haven't made that commitment yet. But now you know what's in store if you do make that commitment. We're going to talk about money at some point. It's not the same as being a member of a nonprofit organization. It's not the same as being a member of NPR. It's not the same as being a member of the Museum of Natural Science. It's about being a member of a community that co-creates all of those things you were talking about. It's about being a group of people who love and accept one another and who are present with each other and who have that sense of solidarity. Being a member means that you are committed to the other people in the community. It's committed to building mutual relationships. And I'm not going to duplicate a lot of the information that I shared at the gratitude gatherings. There are another couple of those this afternoon. We have done our budgeting in a different way this year, and we know a little bit about the vision for the year ahead. You'll hear some of that in our little home gatherings. But just to bullet point some of those. In our spirituality, we want to invite more diverse voices and musicians into our worship space in the year ahead. We have some ideas for that. In our justice arena, we want to be more of an organizing hub, being a catalyst for interspiritual relationships. We have, by the way, our Greater Cleveland Congregation's core team is exemplary. And by exemplary, I mean our core team for Greater Cleveland Congregations is the model that Greater Cleveland Congregations uses when they talk to other congregations about what they wish they were doing. So we have an exemplary Greater Cleveland Congregations team that is all about partnership. Yes. We have a Ministry for Earth team that is helping us be sustainable throughout our entire community. We have a vision for how those things can get carried forward in the year ahead. When we talk about justice, though, I want to be really clear about something. The money that you put in the plate on Sunday morning is not your pledge. The money that you put in the plate on Sunday morning goes out into the community. We don't really have much of a budget for justice. We have a little bit for some of our ministry teams, but the money that we contribute to justice in the larger world comes from the way that we share our plate on Sunday morning. Most of our plate offering each week goes to some organization in the community that is living out our values. Today it went to the Impact program, which is right here in our on site. But a lot of times it goes to other organizations out in the world doing the work that spreads our values. And last year, I don't have the exact number, but it was close to $30,000, not in the budget, close to $30,000 that this congregation committed to justice work in the larger world. If you want to clap for that, you can. You did it. That's a lot of money that's not in the budget that is contributing to the kind of world that we want to see. So I just want you to know that when we talk about I think the stewardship team has named $2,100 is if every member contributed $2,100, then we would have a balanced budget. Some people can do that. Some people, that's a stretch. Some people are contributing more than that, but we're naming that number as the fair average number. If everybody gave that amount, we'd have a balanced budget. But the justice work that we do is over and above that we contribute out into the larger world. And I want to name what that money goes to in terms of our building. We have a building here that does a lot of different ministries, not just for us. It's a gathering place for us, but we also have Impact and Meals on Wheels. The Cleveland Buddhist Temple is here, the Jewish Secular Society. We have a vision for a fully functioning kitchen. And as we explore the possibilities of our space and what kind of space we need and what we might envision for the future, we still need to care for the building that we have. And some portion of our pledges go to that. Some portion of the money that we contribute goes to caring for the space where we gather and do all of these things where we're in person with people and we see people living out their values and we're connected with one another. We also envision ourselves as a learning community. We've got a group that is trying to launch a youth academy and figure out what we want to be in the larger community in terms of having a youth academy. We have money in our budget for a preaching fellowship, and that has been used for some other things because it didn't always work, but I actually got a request about our preaching fellowship this year, and I had to look and say, oh, well, we need to reimagine how we fund that because we envision ourselves as being a learning community. I would love for us to be an internship site in years to come to host a ministerial intern. Most immediately, we're going to be exploring possibilities in our RE program. Our religious exploration program will be changing because Dr. Alan Georgia is not going to be replaced, but Dr. Alan Georgia will have a successor, and so we need to imagine what that is going to be like. Your involvement in all of that is really important, but one of the things that this congregation has decided is to have professional staff guiding our spirituality and our learning. It is not on the congregation's shoulders to figure out what needs to happen with our religious exploration program. Your voices are important. It's not on the congregation's shoulders to determine what needs to happen at worship every Sunday, but your input is important in that. The decision of a congregation this size to pay professional staff to guide those kinds of pieces of our community is important. And any thriving congregation, about 60% of the budget goes to personnel. It goes to pay staff. And the staff hopefully are able to guide and direct our volunteer hours and energy in meaningful ways so that everyone in the congregation doesn't have to be an expert on how things work. We also have a lot of resources for people in the congregation to practice leadership, and I want to name that because another piece of our pledges goes toward the Unitarian Universalist Association. We could be making fuller use of the programs and the resources that they offer. Just in the last year, though, our lay pastoral care team, our safety team, our tending covenant team, our shared ministry committee, our board, the racial justice leadership team, and a couple of years ago, the organizing school that led to the Good Trouble campaign, all of that was sourced by Unitarian Universalist Association resources. And it provides resources for the staff on a regular basis as well. Some of the language that we're able to use about reproductive justice, some of the language that we use about trans rights comes from statements made by the Unitarian Universalist Association so that we don't have to do the heavy lifting on figuring out that language. And even beyond that, we know how to do a lot of the things that we want to do here. We know how to do a lot of the things that nurture our community. We know what we want to do with our financial resources. What we don't necessarily know how to do really well because we're human beings is exist in a covenantal community. The thing that sets Unitarian Universalism apart from so many other faith traditions is that we are so horizontal in the way that we do theology. We are covenantal. We have mutual promises with one another, and that's weird. It's unusual. We don't do that almost any other place in life. I can't think of a place where we have covenants that mean something, and we're not good at it. As human beings, we don't learn how to do that. We come through the door with all the other things that we've learned. What we know how to do when we arrive here is compete for resources, and be ready to defend ourselves. We know how to draw lines between us and them really well. We see that all the time in society. We are well trained at drawing boxes around people and saying that's them and this is us. We walk in the door knowing how to insist that we're right. We walk in the door knowing how to be passive-aggressive, how to overcommit ourselves, how to just be aggressive and create conflict, how to avoid conflict. We know how to react with indignation. We've got lots of models for that around us. We know that well. We know a lot of things that harm us and the people around us in our community. So it goes, when we think about stewarding, caring for beloved community, it really does go beyond the money that we contribute as a pledge. That money makes a difference because it allows us to source the leadership, the space, the resources that we need in order to thrive. But what we need to learn as a community is how to hold covenantal promises and take them seriously. How to be beloved community. How to nurture vulnerable, authentic relationships with one another. It's not easy. What we need as stewards of this space is to understand our responsibility for creating safe and brave space for one another. Safe enough space that the people around us can be brave enough to show up as they are, as their full selves. That takes work. That's what stewardship really is about. Contributing what is ours to contribute for the good of the community. And what matters most is the quality of our relationships. I don't care how much of the budget staff payment is, staff cannot create quality relationships for a community. Staff can guide repairing relationships, but you can't pay somebody to repair relationships for us. Staff can guide and model creating safe and brave space, but the congregation is responsible for stewarding that way of being. Our presence matters in community spaces. And so we want you to be part of the party, part of the celebration of beloved community, and not just exhausted from setting the party up. We want you to be sustained and replenished by being in worship, and sustained and replenished in equal measure to what you contribute, or in excess of what you contribute. We don't want your sense of being sustained and replenished here to not add up to what you contribute here. I was going to name the choir earlier. I brushed right past it. The choir is really great at taking responsibility for building relationships of mutual nourishing. And so if you ever have an opportunity to sit in on a choir rehearsal and just see how they are with each other, I hope you take that chance. Maybe you'll become convinced to be a part of the choir. But you are all so lovable and worthy of beloved community. You are all so worthy of a community that lifts you up and sustains you and nourishes you. And the only way to have that is by creating it for one another. So more than the money that you contribute, I hope you think of stewardship as volunteering in ways that sustain you and that nourish you, ways that serve our community but that are also meaningful to you. And to be really specific, maybe if we're going to name a specific number like $2,100, maybe we should be specific about other things too. If you're serving on more than 3 committees, consider saying no to some of that. Can you give your best if you are overburdened with the commitments that you've made? I want your best, and I want you to feel good about what you're giving. So consider not chairing a committee for 20 years. Consider apprenticing other leaders to come into play and guide them in what they need to know, and also celebrate their innovative ways of doing things. Let this be a chosen family that takes seriously the call to love one another and do the hard work of authentic relationship. There is no amount of money that can take the place of building meaningful, authentic relationships. So may that be what we steward, not just this month, but in the years to come. And I look forward to having whatever conversations we need to have about where you feel your pledge needs to be. Our stewardship team, I know, is happy to have those conversations too. They are very compassionate folks, and they will help figure things out if you need a little assistance. But for now, may we commit ourselves to being that place where we are present, where we can love and accept one another, revel in the diversity of who we are, and the solidarity of what we can co-create together. May we rise in body or spirit as we sing The Fire of Commitment. It is hymn number 1028 in the teal hymnal. And I'll let you take it away from there. Alan already mentioned there's a potluck next week. Please bring your favorite dish for that. The tables will be set up the way they were last time. If you've got desserts, there'll be a table for that. Main dishes, there'll be a well-labeled table for whatever you bring in. Just put it in the right place. And if you bring something that needs to be heated up, we trust you to know when you need to go downstairs and heat it up. You can take responsibility for that piece of it. And last time we had a potluck, you all did a great job of sticking around and helping one another clean up. It went so fast. Thank you for that. And thank you in advance for next week's efforts to do the same. I wanted to let you know I'm going to be on a panel at the LGBT Center on March 14th. That's a Thursday. The panel is from 5:30 to 7:30, and it is about faith and identity. It was a lot of fun last time. There were not a lot of Unitarian Universalists in the crowd, but if you want to be there for it, I invite you to be present for that. That'll be Thursday, March 14th at 5:30. And today, in the fellowship hall, UUCC's Through the Roof resource table will be up during coffee hour with some easy ideas for increasing your home's energy efficiency. You can just look for the model house and the friendly, smiling people. There'll probably be a lot of friendly, smiling people. Look for the model house. That'll be where the Through the Roof campaign is. We know what nourishes us in spiritual community, and we have a vision for that. Even if we haven't called it that, we can name it, we can describe what beloved community means to us and what a nourishing spiritual home feels like. So may we be bold enough to commit ourselves to that calling and that vision. Amen, and blessed be.
Please join with me. I'm reading the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our postlude this morning is Life Calls Us On by Jason Shelton. The words are in your order of service, and I invite you to sing along as you're willing and able. Here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known. Courage,
Hi, good morning. I'm up here to do a building tour. If anyone would care to do that, please meet me up here. Thank you.